Sunday night, 288 teams across Michigan began their dreams of winning a state championship. Dreams that could come true at the Superior Dome up north or at Ford Field in downtown Detroit. Two of those teams will clash tonight in a game that's worthy of Thanksgiving weekend. In one corner, it's the mighty West Bloomfield Lakers, who have only lost 4 times in the last 3 seasons, and they look primed to make another magical run. In the other corner, it's the Technicians of Cass Tech, who may just be the hottest team in the state and sport a tradition that's matched by few programs across the mitten. High school football in Michigan does not get better than this. It's West Bloomfield against Cass Tech in a round 1 playoff matchup for the ages. Football Fridays on Bally Sports Detroit is presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Most years, this is a matchup worthy of Thanksgiving weekend. This year, it happens on Halloween weekend. What a ball game in round 1 of the playoffs. Cass Tech against West Bloomfield. Welcome to the field. Alongside Rob Rubik and the rest of our great Bally Sports crew. Evan Stockton with you. We check in with Natalie Kerwin in just a second. Rob, we're about to see on the screen why Cass Tech and West Bloomfield. There's no doubt about it. These are 2 of the best programs in the state of Michigan because, frankly, they're in this spot year after year.
Well, you talk about Halloween weekend. Both of these coaches got spooked when they saw the matchup because these are 2 of the powers over the past decade in the state of Michigan. You can look at these numbers here, Evan. They just pop out at you, the playoff appearances between these 2 ball teams. It's going to be a battle here tonight, and we're going to talk about some matchups that are going to keep people glued to the TV.
Yeah, Rob, as you know, winning football games, it's not always about the X's and O's. Often it's about the Jimmies and Joes. These 2 football teams have a lot of Jimmies and Joes. Let's start with the matchup we're going to see in the O-line and D-lines tonight, Rob.
We got the big uns. We're going to start with the big fellas up front. You got 2 men that are heading to Michigan State and Michigan, respectively. Jalen Thompson is 6'5", 280 pounds he's listed at, and he is shredded. He's like Nabisco shredded wheat. And he has an edge rush that is second to none, but he's going to have his hands full. He's going to be against Amir Herring, heading to the University of Michigan, 6'4", about 308 pounds. So they're going to be hitting heads, butting heads the entire evening. It's going to be tremendous to watch. And now at the quarterback position, you got 2 similar type of players. You got Rick Nance, who's finally back for West Bloomfield. He's healthy. He's missed 3 games. He's going to be showing his skills here tonight. Very mobile quarterback, likes to tuck and run, but can throw the ball efficiently, Evan, as well. Yeah. And his counterpart on the other side, you look, similar type of pedigree. LaShawn Mumfield, once again, can run the ball, but can throw it. This senior has led his team for 3 years. He's going to do big things here tonight. It's going to be a great battle of quarterbacks.
Yeah, it is. And the guys that they're going to be throwing the football to, it's such an interesting comparison. On one side for West Bloomfield, a senior leader who is not scared of anybody. He may be the most confident young man I've ever seen in my life. And then on the other side for Cass Tech, this freshman that we're going to learn about tonight, this guy is going places, I tell you what.
You open up, you're talking about Samaj Morgan, the best player, skilled player in the state of Michigan this year. But the only one who's close to him is his counterpart for Cass Tech. You look at Corey Sadler, this young man is incredible. Samaj has the ability to get the ball in a crowd. He can take the ball deep. He has the speed. He has all the skill you look for. That's why he's going to the University of Michigan. And I said, on the other hand, number 1 here in green, just a tremendous player. A 14-year-old freshman when I did his game against King early in the year. Unbelievable. I've been doing this for 31 years, Evan. I've never seen a talented freshman like Corey Sadler. He can do everything. They're both really, you like to call Swiss Army knives?
Yeah.
That's what they both are.
Look, if Rob Rubik is saying this, I'm telling you, it's gospel. You got a bunch of future collegiate football stars. I mean, look at it. Wouldn't you believe this face? I mean, look at it. Come on now. This is going to be one heck of a football game. The future of college football is on display tonight. Cass Tech, West Bloomfield. This is high school football in Michigan at its finest, and it's coming up next on Bally Sports Detroit. Happy Halloween weekend. It's still spooky season for a couple of more days. 50 degrees at kick. No chance of rain. About as good as you're going to get. End of October. And this matchup is about as good as you're going to get in the high school football ranks in the state of Michigan. Excited to bring you West Bloomfield and Cass Tech tonight. These are 2 of the state's powers. They rarely play each other. How are they feeling about playing each other entering this game tonight? Let's let Natalie Kerwin tell you the rest of that story.
Yeah, Evan, it's week 1 of the playoffs, and there are great games all around the state of Michigan. Now, normally in this first round, you're not always going to see the best matchups, but that is not the case here tonight. Without question, it is shocking to see these two teams line up against each other in the first round. West Bloomfield had that same reaction as soon as they found out it was Cass Tech. Take a look. These guys were fired up, jumping around, excited just to have a competitive first game. These teams have only played once before, back in 2017. West Bloomfield took that one 9-7. So, you know, these two teams, they don't get the chance to play each other often. So now that they finally do, they are more than fired up about it. And funny enough, Coach Grice actually knew the matchup 5 minutes before it was announced to the team. Quarterback Rick Nance, he's been hurt these last few weeks and told Coach, you know what, I'll still hold off and just wait to return week 2 of the playoffs if we make it there, just to make sure I'm all healed up. Well, as soon as the team found out it was Cass Tech, Nance ran right up to Coach Grice, said, nope, I am definitely playing, Coach. There is no way I'm not going to be in this game. So you know what? Players that have been hurt, they're somehow healed for this game. The enthusiasm, everyone's fired up, and I'm just happy that the three of us get to cover this one here tonight and feel that excitement.
You know, Natalie, I love everything you said, but I didn't see any coaches for West Bloomfield jumping up and down when they found out they had to play Cass Tech. And the players were excited because they played against them maybe in PAL or some of their youth leagues. And there's a look at Marvin Rushing, and I don't think he was real pleased either with his first-round matchup. But you play who's in front of you, as every coach will tell you. And that's what we're going to see here tonight, 2 quality teams in a first-round matchup.
A lot of eyes across the Midwest and across the country flipping on this ball game tonight. About as much talent in the state of Michigan as you're going to get. And one of the better first-round matchups, you could argue, ever that we've seen in Michigan high school football. There's George Sanchez, the sophomore returning kicker for Cass Tech, a busy man. Does the kicking, kick it off, and he handles the extra points and field goals as well. Off we go, and what we're hoping is a classic. Cass Tech and West Bloomfield. That's a pop-up kick. And West Bloomfield forced to fall on the football. Still decent starting field position across their 20. Rob, this is such a storyline entering this game. Rick Nance, they call him Rick. He's the returning starting quarterback for the West Bloomfield Lakers. He hasn't played in a month. So what in the world are you going to do when he does enter on the football field to start the game? They'll start with him off. Lakers will start in a Wildcat formation.
Well, I think that's one thing you do is you're going to ease them into the game when you do get an opportunity to play them. But right now they're going to do what they've been doing the past few weeks. So that's a run-first offense, a lot of Wildcat, and getting the man the ball. Number 2, Samaj Morgan, who we talked about in the open, he has been their playmaker.
We saw Samaj Morgan just making plays all over the football field a couple of weeks ago against Southfield A&T on Football Fridays. The man just does a little bit of everything. They'll put it in his hands. First play of the game. And Cass Tech's defensive line, the left side of it, does a really good job rallying to the football. Get some guys up from the secondary as well in on the stop. It's got to be the name of the game, right, Rob? When you're facing great athletes like Samaj Morgan, it may not be physically possible for one human being to bring him down, so you got to gang tackle a guy like that.
Killer bees. You get out there, swarm them. You make 1 miss, you make 2 misses. It's tough to make 4 and 5 miss.
Samaj Morgan, a senior bound for Michigan. Fitting to do a game like this with Michigan State taking place in less than 24 hours. Bunch of future Spartan and Wolverines on this football field tonight. Stretch run to the left side. It's Deontay Pippin who got a block and got pushed out of bounds. West Bloomfield to the perimeter and awfully close to their first down of the ball game. That was Cassius Shivers who helped to push Deontay Pippin out of bounds on that play. Here's your starting lineup for the hometown Lakers, clad in those black jerseys tonight. What do we need to know about the guy you're circling here, Rob Amir Herring?
Oh, he's a stud. That young man, I walked by him on the field. I didn't realize last year we called him against Adams how big he truly is. He has a big-time college body already, and we're going to watch him. We're going to keep a track of him tonight. He finishes plays that he starts.
Amir actually gained 25 pounds in the offseason. Quick run for Kenneth Jones. West Bloomfield on 3rd down, leaning ahead. Straight power for a 1st down. Rob, we have still not seen Riquez Nance on the field.
Yeah, but what you are going to see is we're going to look right here to the left side, number 56. They got the double going on there with Terrence Daniels. They get some movement, and you just follow the horses. And, you know, sometimes coaches outcoach themselves. Other times, they're smart. You got a horse, you just get right behind them, let them make a hole, and get the first down. And keep the game simple, and that's what Coach Grice is doing right now.
Yeah, I guess West Bloomfield's got to be thinking, look, we do have Nance available, but we've been winning without him. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jones trying to find a little sliver up the middle, and Cass Tech rallies to the football. Nice play by number 99, Jeremy Christian. All right, let's get a look at the impact players for Cass Tech. Shocker, there's a bunch of them on this defense clad in white and green. Rob, who do we need to look out for the technicians?
Well, they actually have probably 11. But we're going to talk about the two defensive ends, Thompson and Anderson, the bookends, both about 6'5", great pass rushers, physical at the point of attack, one heading to Cincinnati, and Anderson and Thompson heading to MSU.
Morgan thought about throwing it. Now he'll run it, and Cass Tech gets to the football again. There's the second tackle of the night for Cassius Shivers. So now, Rob, here we go. For the first time today, this is a passing scenario for West Bloomfield, and look who's coming on the field for the first time today.
You're going to see Rick Nance come in, number 1, because he is the throwing quarterback. And you know, I had a chance to watch this a couple weeks ago. Eastern Michigan played a team with Northern Illinois whose quarterback, Rocky Lombardi, who we all know, was hurt, but they brought him in passing situations and used another guy to run the offense, and that's what we're seeing here as Nance drops back in the pocket.
He's going to try and run. He's a slippery little guy at the quarterback spot. His first play in a month, and it's a first down run on 3rd and 6.
I don't think just being slippery is quite enough here, Evan, but that's a great descriptive call because, number 1, Rick Nance, you can see here, this is a predetermined, I think. He gives it just a second. He's like, you know what, I'm going to take off. They think I'm hurt. I'm not hurt. I'm sandbagging right now. He's coming out, running the football. Coach is taking him out of the game. Now he's leaving the game. He's probably, you know, Coach Gray said, oh, you're going to tuck and run like that? I put you in there to throw the ball. You're fine. You're going to play now.
Yeah, Rick's staying on the field. I don't think he wants to come off. To give to Kenneth Jones. Into the room left side. West Bloomfield is starting to find some real estate, running the football on the perimeter. Graham, the man who pushed out Jones on that play.
You know, in the last previous 4 downs before they got the first down, we saw Deontay Pippin really do a nice job on a run. That time he did a nice job out in front of that play, Evan, on a block, staying on his block without getting a holding call. And that's difficult for wide receivers. You're talking 3, 4, 5 seconds. You just have to understand is when that guy starts to get separation, let go. Don't hang on to that uni because that's when you get called. Nice opening, nice opening drive so far.
No, it really is, and it's been fascinating to watch West Bloomfield just attack the ground. They are getting big chunks on the ground. It's Kenneth Jones again, Graham the tackle again, and right now Cass Tech is getting gassed on the ground.
For the future Laker, Kenneth Jones, heading to Grand Valley from one Laker to another. This is just a little delay here. Nice kick-out block at the point of attack on Anderson. And that's Ralph Rogers does a nice job getting the kick out, and then Jones just takes it up in there and really finishes the run well. Physical back, not the biggest back, but runs physical.
11 touchdowns this year for Jones. Back in his hands. That play was busted from the get-go. Jeremy Christian, the first man, he's the one who absolutely destroyed this play from the shoot.
Mr. Christian. And that's what Jones is going to call him the rest of the night because he got into the backfield and almost got the ball as quick as Jones. And we're going to see right here a good job coming in, getting pressure, splitting the double team. That's just a bad double because that's when 2 offensive linemen, one thinks the other one has it, they let him go, and he goes right between them. So good job taking advantage of a play that was not executed.
Nance needs a little magic. He finds some down the field. The first pass of the game is a good one. Just the 8th catch of the year for Trenton Allison, but West Bloomfield moves the sticks again.
Making big 3rd down plays. Nice job getting a little bit of separation by Rick Nance, but a better job by Trenton Allison down the field. Quarterback's in trouble. If you're away, you got to come back to him, and that's what Allison did. He was actually farther down the field. He saw his quarterback coming, scrambling to the left. He came back, gave him somewhere to throw the ball.
Back to the ground and Pippin. Oh my goodness, what a defensive play. Hello, Jalen Thompson.
We're going to look at number 55, telling people right now, he's going to be coming into your screen right here. And right now, let it go. He splits the double. One hand, he says, you know what, I'm a full-grown man, and I just tossed you to the ground because I'm 270 pounds, and you're going nowhere. All he did was get his fingertips on him. He's able to grab him and whip him to the ground, and that's a strong back. So that's why Coach Tucker is excited about getting number 55 wearing green and white.
Second down long for West Bloomfield. Nance stepping up in that pocket again. Dipping and dancing and finding his way up near the 30. Shoestring tackle by Shivers with a flag on the play.
I think we're going to find out that there's going to be a holding call on West Bloomfield.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
There's our officials tonight. Brian Smith just letting us know the call. And frankly, Rob, this is the danger when all of a sudden West Bloomfield goes off script of run, run, run. Well, now they're trying to throw, and all of a sudden it's second down and forever near midfield.
Yeah, and Alex Walton was battling one-on-one against Jalen Thompson that time. Did okay, held out long enough to get out of let the quarterback Nance get out of the pocket. It's funny, we see Nance doesn't come out in the first play or two, and I don't know if that's a ploy. But now they have him in the game, and he looks like he's pretty healthy to me. I can't speak for you, Evan, but he's moving pretty well.
I am no doctor, but he looks okay. He wants to take a deep shot. Down the near side. Nearly picked. That is a great play by Alex Graham, the sophomore who didn't even start the year on the two-deep, and now he's getting offers from Big Ten schools all over the place.
Yeah, and you want to play defensive back. The biggest asset you can have is speed. And the reason speed is so important is when you can run with this receiver, you can do what Graham does here. He can turn and locate the ball. Guys that aren't fast enough, people say, he's got to turn, find the ball, the defensive back. Well, he can't find it because he can't turn because he's trying to play catch-up. Graham was just floating. By doing that, he's able to turn, make a play on the ball, and almost gets the interception.
Well, whatever magic and pixie dust that Rick Nance has in those fingertips and that right arm, he's going to have to find it here. It is third down and 2 country miles.
I would pooch it here. I'm a big pooch punt guy in this situation. I know it's third down, but you can really flip the field.
And we'll try to draw up something. It's Nance rolling and throwing downfield, incomplete. DeAndre Hill had a step. They were attacking Shivers in the secondary.
Wow, you know, I'm saying pooch punt, and they had it. I mean, Hill got behind him. He got behind Shivers that time. And we're going to look right here. Watch this. Let it go. He's going to run down the middle of the field. You see the safety coming over the top to help Shivers, and then he just does a post route, cuts across his face, and he's there. If that ball is thrown maybe more towards the corner, I think Hill's going to have a chance to make a play, but definitely you're going to punt here on fourth down and play defense, but a good opening drive. I know it's stalled. I know, Evan, it got backed up a little bit here, but you still should have them inside their own 20. You flip the field. Now, if you're West Bloomfield, you come out and play defense.
Apparently, Samaj Morgan didn't do enough on that first drive. He's also going to punt. Nearly got blocked. Pretty good-looking punt. And a roll. Keep on rolling. And it'll be a long field to go for Cass Tech. LaShawn Mumfield to bring the technicians onto the football field. Bend but don't break for Cass Tech. Their first drive of the night. When you come on back.
Welcome back to West Bloomfield. Still scoreless here in the first. Now, as much as West Bloomfield has been rolling through the regular season, they've been plagued by the injury bug these last few weeks. Other guys have had to step up, and they've got 3 key players back, starting with quarterback Rick Nance and 2 defensive guys in Adrian Epps and Lorenzo Williams. They also got Samaj Morgan back this week, too. So these are all guys that have to try and shake off that rust today. They've missed multiple weeks and have all returned to help through the playoffs. Coach Grice said, you're going to play a team like Cass Tech? Yeah, you need every single guy back. Guys?
Yeah, Natalie, you were talking about that earlier. Apparently the magic elixir for what ails the West Bloomfield Lakers is just play Cass Tech and everyone feels good again.
Yeah, that and also when you're backup. I can remember playing, I thought I had my job all comfy like in college and stuff. All of a sudden, you're nicked a little bit and your backup's in there playing pretty well. You're like, you know what, I feel better, Coach. I think I can go.
Here's LaShawn Mumfield, who's been feeling good all year for the Cass Tech technicians. Third-year starting quarterback. has darn near a 4.0 GPA. And that touchdown to interception ratio is something that Marvin Rushing and the coaching staff will love for the technicians.
Yeah, not as impressive as his 4.0 GPA, but not a bad stat.
Well, it's a long field to go for Mumfield and his friends. Just about 95 yards to go for Pater. They'll start on the ground, and what a start. It is Hodges, spun down by Morgan, but that is an explosive start for Cass Tech.
Well, you got Washington, the center, O'Brien, the left guard. It's going to come right at you. Really, I don't know what West Bloom was doing. They were slanting 3 guys to the left, and the linebacker also scraped to the left. If you're going to slant left, your linebacker's going to be filling to the right, or you're going to leave a huge hole, and that's what we saw right there.
Sean Hodges in the midst of a whale of a year. Couple of touchdowns and a win over Brother Rice last week. Cass Tech had to beat Brother Rice last week to make the playoffs. Here they are. On the ground again, trying to wade through the traffic. Not going to work quite as well that time. Montel Johnson on the first hit for the West Bloomfield Lakers. Here's your look at the starting offense for Cass Tech, coming in at 6-3. When we look at these starters, Rob, what stands out to you on that screen?
Well, it's not on this screen as much because it doesn't have their height and weight, but they got some big fellas up front. They got a lot of size, and they also have a lot of skill when you look across here. We saw Alex Graham playing the secondary, also wide receiver. We know what Sadler can do, the big tight end who's going to Cincinnati, might be a defensive end or tight end. So they have skill. We knew we were going to see a lot of that.
Mumfield keeps. Bad decision. Brandon Davis Swain. Hello.
We're going to take a look here at number 11. Brandon Davis Swain's going to come right down to the left of your screen, gets penetration right away, and Mumfield pulls the ball, maybe ill-advised, and Swain was right there. Now, if you're Cass Tech, you have to be smart. Marvin Rushing's got to say, it's 3rd and 11. And one of these impact players defensively, look at Davis, Swain, and Johnson, we don't want to make them look very good on that graphic that Bally just showed. If we talk about the impact players, they don't want to see impact. You got to be safe here. If you don't get the first down, you can live to fight another day, but you do not want to get a turnover here. Nothing wrong with punting, ending a drive with a punt.
Shift the big tight end Anderson to the left side. Mumfield looking in that direction. Stepping up, now stepping back, rolling, throwing, it's caught. There's the first catch of the game for the superstar freshman Sadler. But some good coverage on the outside. Lorenzo Williams stuck to him.
And good protection in the pocket. It allowed Mumfield to kind of move around a little bit and buy some time. And Sadler kept working down the field to give himself and get him open a little bit and give his quarterback an out. And Mumfield delivered the ball. The bad part is it was about 5 yards short of a first down and a 3 and out. And good series for the defense of West Bloomfield.
Mumfield remains on the field, but there's no trickery here. He's the punter. He's only had to punt it 12 times this year. He does have 7 punts inside the 20. Longest punt, 53 yards this year for Mumfield. Cass Tech going to bleed as much of that play clock as they can. It's a bad snap, and Mumfield gets it away. Averting disaster. West Bloomfield will start in Cass Tech field position, but quite frankly, Rob, that is a huge play for Mumfield. He just avoided a big-time disaster.
And this is why it's nice having an athlete as a punter. That was a snap that was low into the side. He's able to pick it up with the quickness he has. He's able to get into a kicking position very quickly. It goes by him. He probably feels he should have had it the first time, and then he's able to get it off. And now he gets hit after. And I think once you break your natural rhythm in the punting game, you become a fair target. You become a runner. And that's what happened there, and that's why he was able to get hit after he punted the football.
Well, this is a pretty important drive, Rob, for the West Bloomfield Lakers, starting in primo field position. What do we think are the keys today?
Well, you're going to solve this today. I think, number one, you got to massage Samaj. In other words, you got to get him the ball, make him work, get him in the run game, get him in the pass game, whatever you want to do. Let him throw the ball if you have to. In defense, I spy. You got to have Montel Johnson's going to spy the quarterback, Rick Nance, because he's going to tuck and go. And if you're playing man behind it, it could be trouble.
Big hit on the outside. Alex Graham laying the wood. Kenneth Jones, a decent run on first down, but Alex Graham with the pop on the outside.
Kenneth Jones, only 5'9", but they list him at 200 pounds, so he carries a little bit of thump with him now. But it's gonna come at you here, and you see Jones when he turns up, he starts going north and south. Graham comes in, number 11, does a good job of really delivering the blow. He gets a little help from his friend as well. That's 44, Sincere Jones, and believe me, he was very sincere about that hit.
You've been working on that all week, haven't you? You've been waiting on that one. Nance with time. Setting the feet and throw in. Down the middle. Morgan did not make the catch. The intended target was Pippen. Somehow, Samaj Morgan almost made this catch.
Yeah, and as you said, that was the Pippen. That ball sailed. But the most impressive thing about this play is the time. I mean, you're talking about keeping out one Power 5 and a Cincinnati Bearcat defensive end, and you're going to look here, time, and they bring a blitzer off the edge. You see him come in late, and that's just incredible.
Samaj Morgan nearly scooped it up like a shortstop, but instead it is an incomplete pass. We expected a lot of offense, so of course it's 0-0 after 12 minutes of football. Second quarter starts next. This special presentation of the MHSAA Football Playoffs on Bally Sports Detroit, brought to you by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Family, it's not just the name of our company, but the way that we do business. Believe it or not, this is only the second ever time that these two state powers have battled. Both meetings have come in the playoffs. West Bloomfield and Cass Tech played a slobber knocker of a semi in 2017. West Bloomfield wins by 2. And frankly, Rob Rubik, we may be in store for another similar game. We don't have any score yet, and we're one quarter into this ballgame.
That's fine. I'm a big fan of defensive battles. I know people like points in the Madden game and the video game. Everyone wants to see 50-50, but you give me two good defensive teams. I had the chance to call Ron Belmy's West Bloomfield team, and they lost 3-2 in the state championship game, and it was a great football game.
So you like defensive football games?
I do.
Do you also enjoy pitchers' duels in baseball?
Yeah, and I like watching grass grow, too. But no, I do. Oh, there's a motion.
Well, they don't have Rick Nance on the field, and that may have bit him on this play.
That's Trent Allison.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
The wide receiver to the wide side of the field here moved a little bit quick.
So now you turn 3rd and 6 into 3rd and 11. The original plan was not to have Riquez Nance on the field.
Well, that changes now, right?
Yeah.
Comes a passing situation, 3rd. And that also what that does is get Samaj Morgan out of the backfield and gives you one more weapon outside to get the ball to in the passing game.
Yeah, Morgan's ability to catch and run with that football has been hampered with Riquez Nance, the starting quarterback, out. Rick has missed a month, but number 1 in black back in the field. Keep your eye on Morgan and the highlighter green, right side of your screen.
Well, they're manning up. They're playing man-free.
Play action. Nance evacuating the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, and throwing a pick. It was tipped by Sadler. It's intercepted by Graham. Looking for real estate. Coming back to the near side. Alex Graham is still on his feet and out of bounds. An interception for the second straight week for the sophomore.
Well, that's just an ill-advised pass because Cass has this covered. You're going to see Nance. He gets a little antsy here, and he just kind of heaves up, tries to get over the top. When you're rolling that hard to your right, you can't get much on the ball. Sadler has it, goes through his hands, and Graham intercepts it. Does a nice job cutting back and picks up a few blocks. But if you're Rick Nance in that situation, as I said, there's nothing wrong with ending a drive with a punt. And with the athleticism and the speed they have in that defensive backfield, as you see with Graham on that return, is, man, you don't want to throw an interception. You have 5 big linemen trying to run down the field and chase them. You want to get your punt team out in the worst case scenario, because then you have some athletes chasing them. And we saw what Graham did, and that just flips the field, and Cass Tech is cooking with oil.
Yeah, they really are. Remember, Rob, their last drive started at their own 5. This one starts at West Bloomfield's 40. Third run of the game for Hodges. Trying the right side, cutting it up, and gaining a good chunk on first down. Rob, we've already seen what you think are going to be the keys for the hometown team today. What's your Rubik's Cube for the visiting technicians at Cass Tech?
Well, I think offensively, you got to get Corey Sadler in the ball in many ways as you can. They have one completion to him so far, but you're going to see him maybe run some jet sweeps, some maybe reverses, whatever you're going to do, some screen in, some funnel screen, so forth. Offensively and defensively, it's all about the two big fellas on the edge. You got to get Anderson along with Thompson, have got to get pressure and make things uncomfortable for Rick Nance in the pocket, and we saw what happens when you do. You force him out, he scrambles, he throws a pick.
Fake to the motioning Graham. Over the middle and caught. Kamari Anderson is 6'5", 220. That's a large catch radius.
He's like Megatron, mini Megatron there. He's got a big arm span, as you can see there. But what I like about it is I'm a big fan of really shallow drag routes. Get your tight end. He's coming from the right, 15 and white. You see him coming all the way across. And the left-handed quarterback is right in his wheelhouse as he kind of does a little short roll to the left. He's able to find him, gets underneath the coverage, and not a big play, but enough.
Cass Tech 2 plays, 1 first down on their second drive of the night. Hodges again. Looking for a little space on the right side, not much. Xavier Davis, the first man to him on defense for West Bloomfield. Cass Tech has been attacking the interior of West Bloomfield's defensive line so far tonight. A couple of good runs for Sean Hodges, but rushing and the coaching staff being patient early on in this ballgame. They shift Anderson to the right side on second down. Mumfield turning left, throwing left, incomplete. And a late flag as Williams locked up in coverage with Sadler.
Yeah, and I like the call. I watched the matchup the entire way. Sadler was fighting Williams. He made a nice jab step outside on his release. He got inside position, and then he kind of was able to get ahead of Williams and get him on his back. And Williams the whole time was trying to fight through him, grabbing and tugging and pulling a little bit. And I didn't know if the official was going to throw it. He
Pass
finally did.
Defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Yeah, I think the worst grab came late there. It was a little physical play, and that's a young man. I think he's heading to Western Michigan. Is that correct?
Future Bronco.
Great. I have to watch him for 4 years now. I do Eastern Michigan radio. That's why that comment was made. I'm a big Eagle guy, and I've seen enough great players go through Western Michigan. I don't need them getting any more.
Thank you for that MAC update. We appreciate it. Give Hodges running right, keeping the wiggle moving. Down near the 5 he goes. That is one shifty senior running back, Hodges. Davis Swain made the tackle.
Well, we saw early on what you can do. We're going to look here. Look, I'm going to circle right here. Watch these two. They're going to get double. They're going to get all this movement here. Then they're just going to run it right up in there. Let it go. Good job. Good kick out. Look at the feet with Jalen Thompson there. Number 55 just following up. Doing a great job. You know, we talked about how good he is at defensive end, but how about that as an offensive lineman as well?
Field back to the gun, second down short. Hodges remains the back. Mumfield keeps running right, and he's in untouched. Touchdown, Cass Tech.
Sean Mumfield, touchdown, Cass Tech.
This is just going to be Mumfield doing a good job with the read. He's going to put the ball in the belly of the back. He's going to read the defensive end, let it go here. Gets blocked at the, actually, it's a nice job. They I don't know what you call that, because he's not even a read, because on a read you're going to let the defensive end go, but Anderson just hooked him. So that's interesting.
Mumfield more of a thrower than a runner. That's only the 3rd running touchdown of the year for Mumfield. George Sanchez on for the extra point. And it's good. Cass Tech and West Bloomfield in a highly anticipated first-round game in Division I. Cass Tech, maybe the hottest team in the state. They had to win last week to play this week. And they're looking good so far. Bally Sports Detroit is once again your home for the MHSAA Football Finals. The Thanksgiving weekend tradition will see 8 state champs crowned. Divisions 8, 2, 6, and 4 going to play on Friday. And Divisions 7, 1, 5, and 3 will be on Saturday. All games appearing on Bally Sports Detroit, Bally Sports Detroit Extra, and the Bally Sports app. For all of us at Bally Sports, Rob, it's such a special weekend to be at Ford Field every single year and see dreams come true. Let's get a look at the early results in Division I. We do have one, Belleville.
And that's no surprise. I mean, that's the team that we feel right now heading in is the favorite. Now, it's a slight favorite Division I because it is wide open. And then you look at down the line here, I think over here, you look at these two teams battling tonight. I think both of them could make a run deep. And down here on the bottom, I think Chip Valley, Romeo comes out of that, but you got Dakota and Ike. It's just difficult. I mean, this is a very strong, even side. There's no one that jumps out with the exception of maybe Belleville because of Bryce Hunter with their fine quarterback. And I think Bill Sheridan being the defensive coordinator now out in Belleville, it's really made the good defense even better. So they're not going to have to outscore people so much anymore.
You know, there's about 7 or 8 teams in that Division I bracket. You talk to all the contending coaches in the state. Frankly, they say there's about 8 to 10 teams where any of them win it, nobody's going to be surprised. Sanchez on the kick. Chance for a return for West Bloomfield. On to the near side of the field. They need some space. This is Bryce Rowe down the sideline. He goes. Bryce Rowe has a kick return touchdown earlier this year, and that is a big-time return for West Bloomfield to put them in business.
Well, and here's what's going to happen. Usually you can't get to the other side. We're not privy, but he gets a really good block out here on the edge and was able to get one of the defenders kind of knocked a little bit loose, and then he's able to get to the edge because that usually doesn't happen. When a guy gets on that far numbers, you never want to bring it all the way across because it takes too long, but Rowe proved that he can.
He runs a 4.5 40, and his nickname is Blaze. When your nickname is Blaze, you have to live up to the nickname and have big returns like that. So right after Cass Tech starts in West Bloomfield territory and scores a touchdown, the Lakers are hoping for a similar result on their end. Give Jones. Not very much up the middle. A lot of technicians around the football. Just a gain of 1 or 2 on first down.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Greister in the course of the week, and he said, you know, we've really become a run first, run second, almost run third type of team. And I really didn't buy it because I've seen West Bloomfield play in the past, and they have such skill outside. They like to air the ball out, but he really sticking to his guns. He is exactly doing what he said he was going to do. They're just staying with the run, trying to get something to pop, but Cass has been up to the challenge defensively so far.
Morgan left. A little room for Samaj, and then it closed up quickly. Once again, Rob, we are seeing a theme here. Whenever Morgan has that football, there's at least 3 or 4 white jerseys just surrounding him and bringing him to the ground.
Well, you think he might keep it? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Right. If you're not, we're not real bright up here, but I got a feeling if number 2's in the backfield, and it's nice to wear all that lime green undershirt and the shoes and stuff because he's really easy to find.
Right.
And when that ball goes to him, there's a good chance he's going to run it. I don't know if we've seen him hand it off yet. I haven't, I don't know, when he's got, has he ever given it to Jones or has he ran it every time? Yeah, okay.
Once or twice, yeah. You also need to stop saying things like we're not that smart up here on live television. You do know our bosses watch these things, right? It's 3rd down and 4. Morgan keeping it again. Got away from the first. Couldn't get away from the second. That is Sean Hodges, the starting running back, making a heck of a tackle in the open field.
Yeah, they're not biting in on that ball fake. They're staying true. We're going to watch right out here. Watch them come up. Oops, I was a little late on it. But a good job of just staying to your technique, not buying a fake. And Caleb Richmond, number 9, does a great job coming in when he sees Samaj pull the ball and try to get to the edge.
All right, Rob, here you go. Decision potentially to be made by West Bloomfield's coaching staff. Looks like they're lining up for a punt with Morgan. Would you punt it if you're the coach here? Looks like West Bloomfield with Morgan back there punting. Is this a curious decision to you?
Man, I don't know. Play defense. Your defense has been pretty good. Get him deep.
Sadler will field it inside his 5. Corey Sadler trying to create a little magic, but there's no magic wand on this play. He's tackled shy of the 15-yard line. But Cass Tech's defense has been pitching a shutout so far, and the offense just marched down the field for 6. They're back in the field in a second.
Welcome back to West Bloomfield, where Cass Tech leads this one right now 7-0. Now, every kid on the field tonight likely has a role model they look up to. And for West Bloomfield's Brandon Davis-Swain, it's NFL superstar, 2-time Pro Bowler, and, oh, by the way, Super Bowl champion, Matthew Judon. Matthew is a 2010 graduate of West Bloomfield, now a defensive superstar for the New England Patriots. And just a few weeks back, Brandon Davis-Swain and his father flew out to New England to watch the Patriots take on the Detroit Lions. Now, his dad and Matthew were able to connect through the West Bloomfield Football Alumni Program, and now that connection has extended on to Brandon. Now, as you can see, Brandon was rocking Matthew's Super Bowl ring, and it looks like Matthew gave him quite the hook up there in the suite, too, getting some awesome pictures together. I mean, that's a lot of trust right there, guys, to just let anyone wear your Super Bowl ring. So it just goes to show how close of a connection they have.
Yeah, Natalie, that's absolutely true. Matthew Judon, one of the finer football players in the history of West Bloomfield High School. I also don't want to know how much that outfit costs that he is wearing, because it's probably more than's currently in my bank account. So Cass Tech coming back on the football field. First down 10. LaShawn Mumfield on the last drive for the Technicians ran for a short touchdown of about 5 yards. That drive started in West Bloomfield territory at the 40. This starting field position not quite as ideal. On the ground they keep it, and West Bloomfield with those black jerseys surrounding the ball carrier Hodges just a couple of yards. You know, Natalie, what's interesting is that Matthew Judon's presence is always felt here at West Bloomfield, even when he's not even here. What do we mean by that?
Yeah, the black jerseys you're seeing on the field tonight actually haven't always been a part of West Bloomfield's game day attire. Matthew Judon donated the money for the team to get those, actually. He donates to the program every year, and even these last 2 years, he's actually donated his Pro Bowl checks. Coach Grice told me, yeah, it'd be nice if he continues to have Pro Bowl-like seasons. So, yeah, the Pro Bowl is the reason they're looking so good tonight. Guys?
Yeah, Natalie, that's absolutely true. And with the way that Judon played the other night against the Bears, 2.5 sacks, I think he's heading back to the Pro Bowl again. Although they don't actually play the game anymore. Mumfield down the middle. He had Jordan, and it was off his fingers.
Well, Mumfield does a nice job standing in the pocket, because Montel Johnson, number 16 in black, is going to come right up the middle on a blitz. You're going to see him right here in the middle of the screen. Comes right through, breathing down heavy, and that's just got to be caught. And that's a situation where Jordan, he tries to scoop the ball instead of grabbing it. He should turn his hands so you get the triangle with the thumbs. You make that triangle with your thumbs and your fingers, and he did it. Instead of grabbing the ball, he tried catching it or scooping it, and right through his arms. That's when you like to have back, because that's a well-thrown ball by Mumfield.
And now, after the incomplete pass, it's 3rd down and long for the Technicians, deep in West Bloomfield territory. Mumfield setting up a screen. It's in the hands of Hodges. Long way to go. And those black Matthew Judon Lakers jerseys get to him. Took a bunch of them to bring him down, but good defense by West Bloomfield, and 4th down coming up.
And what's so important here is you're going to see Montel Johnson, 16, he's going to sniff it out. He's in the middle of the screen. He's going to come out here, and he misses it. You see one missed tackle there. 16 comes flying. He misses it. They stay with it. But we talked about, or you talked about, Evan, about pursuit. having more than one jersey to the football, more than 2, 3 to 4. And when you're playing against guys that can make you miss, like Cass can and like West Bloomfield, you need multiple guys getting to the ball, and that's what they're doing. And that's the reason they're able to contain on that play and force the punt.
Bloomfield's only had to punt 12 times this season entering tonight. Multiple punts this evening. Swings the left leg into it, driving the Laker returners back. This is Adrian Epps on the return, and he's escorted out of bounds by Alex Graham after a short return. And now a message from Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
For over 50 years, your family has trusted Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call Family Heating and Cooling now for all of your family's heating and cooling needs.
Visit FamilyHeating.com today.
You know, this is what's interesting about how this football game is going, Rob. We talked about top of the broadcast. West Bloomfield gets their starting quarterback, Raquez Nance, back in the lineup. But frankly, we haven't seen number one in black a whole heck of a lot tonight. West Bloomfield's been rolling with pretty much the same single-wing offense that they've been running the last 4 weeks. Do you think they should stick with it, change it up? What do you think?
I think the change up in the sense that they need to come out here on first down and throw the football. Run a play action on the first down. Maybe try to get Samaj Morgan open or use him as a decoy if nothing else. Maybe have him flush through the zone, leak someone out behind him because it's going to pull. He pulls a lot of defense coverage with him. But I think you've got to start mixing up and maybe throw on first.
There you go. First play of the drive, and it's caught to Samaj Morgan. Quite frankly, that's a sentence we haven't been able to say a lot the last month. Rob, you called it. Get the ball out of Rick Nance's hands and let him feel comfortable.
I'm a big play action on first down. Now, it helps if you can establish the run, Evan, and they really haven't. But still, on first down, I'm guaranteed those 11 white jerseys are thinking run. They're coming up. They're flying up. Get the ball out of their quarterback's hand. Now you've won on first down. It puts you in a very advantageous second and short to medium.
Got to reset the clock here. Had to add about 13 seconds back onto it. Keep in mind as well that neither team has burned a timeout here. His entire playbook open. Give Rogers. Cut it back up and got tackled in the open field. That's Zachary Boston on the tackle. Third down and short.
So if you're Jones, the running back, we're going to get ready to stop here. Let it go, pause it. Look at right here. Now you're 22, Jones, and watch what Thompson does. Just tosses him, comes back inside, and if you're Jones, you're thinking, that's really not a good matchup. Which of our coaches drew that play up where they think, I'm going to block 55? I always tell people, you hear the announcers, he's imposing his will or he wants it more. I played against Lawrence Taylor. I wanted it more than him. It didn't help. He still tossed me like that. Help get in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I was about to say, in your defense, there's a lot of people who felt that way.
I think I got him in. I thought he'd invite me to give his acceptance speech because I really, as good as I made him look.
So West Bloomfield Laker down on the field. Good to see Jamar Johnson to his feet. Junior being helped off the field. Zarin Mirdo, number 60, the senior, the man who will likely return and replace Jamar Johnson after the injury. Watch him right side of your screen.
52 in black. You see it right there. He gets rolled up a little bit. And let's hope the big fella's all right. They need Jamar. He's been an integral part of this offensive line. 6 foot, 255-pound junior.
Third down short for West Bloomfield. And before we get there, Cass Tech calls their first timeout of the second half. Still a couple remaining in Marvin Rushing's back pocket. Big third down and 1 coming up. About 3.5 to go in the second quarter. Busy first night of the MHSAA Football Playoffs. We'll update you on some scores when we come back. But right now, a message from the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. This special presentation of MHSAA Football on Bally Sports Detroit, presented by our friends at the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. We've got a heck of a matchup here in West Bloomfield in round 1 of the playoffs, but there's a lot of great games we got to focus on across the state tonight. All right, Rob, we're looking at a field. What catches your eye here?
No surprise, no surprise. Not really sure about this one. Actually, Lapierre's doing pretty well against Clarkston because they got beat by about 5 touchdowns just 2 weeks ago. Adams, and I'm sure if Pico's playing at quarterback, if not, that's really impressive by Adams. Being up that big in Belleville is what we thought they were, 48-0. It looks like Coach Crow up, how do you call the dogs off? Because I think it was 41 at half. Saline and Huron, good matchup. CJ Carr having a little bit of trouble there, but yeah, some good first-round games. A little bit surprised. I mean, when you look at them, all still hanging in the balance somewhat, with the exception of the Belleville.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other games. We're going to get you the highlights and scores up at the half. John Keating,
yes.
Lauren Plant standing by to update you on some of those ball games.
Here's the one, the CC game I'm really curious about as a tease here to see how they do against Dearborn. Dearborn is an up-and-coming team. It's always been Dearborn Forts. But Dearborn's kind of saying, you know what, we have a team here as well, and they've had a nice season, and seeing they're giving CC much of a test.
Dearborn is up in that game at halftime. Third down run for West Bloomfield. They didn't need a whole heck of a lot, but they do get the first down. That is Kenneth Jones lowering his shoulder and getting the necessary yards. He's been the bell cow this year for the West Bloomfield Lakers. Darn near 130 carries, 11 touchdowns. And here's the kicker, Rob, with Kenneth Jones. He hasn't fumbled once all year.
I tell you, coaches love that. You know, you can have the most talented back in the world, but if you can't possess the ball and you turn it over, because that's the most telling stats in games. If you lose a turnover battle, you don't win many games. And when you got a running back that is sure-handed like Kenneth Jones, that's such a luxury.
Rick Nance alone in the gun. Stands tall and throws incomplete. He was trying to hit Allison with Shivers in coverage.
Well, they came out on first down and threw the ball. The problem was it was an empty set in the backfield, I believe. I don't think there was any running back there. So that's kind of a hint to the defense when they have an empty set. It's one of two things. It's going to be a pass or a quarterback draw. Sometimes they'll try to go empty, spread everyone out, and just run a quarterback on a draw. But once you see him set, it's pass. And that time, he tried to lead Allison into the middle a little bit. And Allison, I'm not sure, wanted too much of it. We didn't call it Wally Gator. But he kind of was a little bit hesitant coming towards that safety and doesn't make a play because it wasn't a horrible ball by Nance. So now, at 2nd and 10, it puts you, or 3rd and 10, rather, or 2nd and 10.
Yep.
Puts you into more of a passing situation. But this time, they do have Kenneth Jones offset to the left, the running back.
They'll shift Rogers in motion. Fake it to him. Nance rolling left. Now he tucks and runs. He lowers his shoulder. My goodness. He's listed at 5'9", 185. Nickens the man who finally brought him down. But my goodness, this is a big-time run from Nance.
See, you're not old enough. He's a chicken hawk. He wants to show Foghorn Leghorn. I can handle my own. I'm not very big, but he hits it 100 miles an hour, lowers his shoulder, and takes on a bigger player that time. And Matthew Nickens, number 6 for Cass Tech, 6'2", 180. But that man, Rick Nance, shows no fear. For a guy that has that broken pinky on his non-throwing hand.
He'll make a long throw here that's caught by Deontay Pippin. First down, West Bloomfield. Another tackle for Alex Graham, but it came too late. It's a good-looking throw here.
You know, this whole drive, they've been a little bit different. You talk about changing tendencies. They've come out and started throwing the ball more on first down a couple times. That time on second down, gets time in the pocket. Now with 1:40, if you're West Bloom, you still have 3 timeouts, so there's plenty of time when you're on the opponent's 27-yard line.
100 seconds to go in the first half. I was just saying, all these timeouts left for West Bloomfield. It's Rogers to the left side. He is dominoed down as he crosses the 25-yard line, but it's still a positive gain on first down for West Bloomfield. Got to keep in the back of your mind as well, Rob, that Cass Tech gets the ball to start the second half. Not quite a must-score drive here for West Bloomfield, but it kind of feels that way.
Well, I think it's important, if anything else, that you're just trying to build some confidence with an offense that has had struggles here in the first half. Let's not fool ourselves. This Cass defense has been dominant.
And straight run up the middle. He's got the room, and he's inside the 5.
Well, we talked about one of the keys for Cass defensively was I spy.
They forgot they were playing I Spy, and there's no one here. You got the one linebacker who's going to go to the right here a little bit, bails out, and whoop, I'm going to go. And I'm pretty fast. I'm not Kyler Murray, even though last year he told us, he said, I'm the next Kyler Murray. So I don't know Rick is that yet, but he showed some good quicks there. And I tell you, West Bloom is in position here to possibly tie this up heading into the half.
How has Nance looked to you in this first half coming off
Very
that
confident.
injury?
Very confident. Now, a couple of throws, a little bit off, but overall doing a good job navigating his team. And I was looking more how he was in the run game. It wasn't the passing game because it's his non-throwing hand.
Yeah.
But when you're running the ball and you're trying to hang on, that's when you're exposing that hurt finger, that broken finger, to people coming up. But he shows no fear.
You're seeing his stats in the bottom right corner of your screen. He's 3 for 8 passing. He started 1 for 5, so he's getting heated up there. And some rushing yards as well to help the total.
Yeah, that's impressive as well, because this young man, as we said, is coming off an injury. But what he doesn't lack is confidence. Because you talk to him or you talk to Coach Grice, he'll tell you he thinks he can stir the drink, that he is the straw that stirs the drink on his offense, and he showed it in this drive that he is.
Did you just compare Riquez Nance to Reggie Jackson? The straw that stirs the drink.
Oh, yeah. Which Reggie Jackson's been a lot of one of the
That's
Yankees
true.
or the one that used to play for the Pistons?
I've lost track of where Reggie Jackson is now.
I'm running left behind the big fella.
We'll try the middle with Jones. Amidst the rugby scrum. He is not in. He is short. West Bloomfield, as of now, not calling a timeout.
Well, they got time.
Kenneth Jones, number 22, is saying, give me the ball again. I'm getting in this time. Same play, and it works this time. Kenneth Jones with the powerful run. It's a West Bloomfield touchdown. It's a chilly late October night, but the action is getting us warmed up. One heck of a run here from Jones, huh?
Yeah, this you're going to see right here. When we get under look at the replay, I'm going to show you where he is, and he's going to get met right in the hole after this extra point, which could tie the game heading into half.
This is Ryan Krauthammer, who has become the kicker late in the year for West Bloomfield. The left-footed senior, who also plays soccer here at West Bloomfield. High snap put down well, and Ryan's kick is perfect.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look at Jalen Thompson, 55. He's going to be down in the stance right here, and Jones is going to go right here, and he's going to meet him. This is MSU, going to number 55, 270 pounds. And look at Jones, takes him right, gives him a ride right into the end zone. That's kind of like Bo Jackson and Brian Bosworth back in the day. And that's Grand Valley 1, MSU nothing, baby. Go Lakers.
You have managed to get that reference in about 4 different times.
I'm showing my colors. They actually are really good this year, so I'm a fair weather fan. No, but that's in Thompson's defense, he was high, and he got caught under the chest by a shorter offensive back, and with all the momentum. But still, that's still a big man that number 22 just ran over.
What's the old football cliche? Low man wins.
Yeah, and that's so true, Evan. You are correct.
So there's touchdown number 12 of the year for Kenneth Jones.
Hey, bro, keep it up, bro. Keep it up.
Again, that wasn't necessarily a must-score drive for West Bloomfield, but with Cass Tech getting the ball in the second half, you sure would have liked a touchdown there.
And because if Cass Tech starts out the second half and puts a drive and goes up 14-0, that 14 looks like a lot when you have a goose egg up there. If they're up 14 and you already have 21, they have 35, that's different. That means you're moving the ball, you're scoring points. But in a game that points are at a premium like tonight, yeah, that's a huge drive, finishing this half with 7 points, or almost finishing the half.
Krauthammer the kick, and he directly kicked it out of bounds.
That's crooked as dog's hind leg. I don't know. Look at that thing. That almost went into the stands.
I would hope for Ryan's sake he was doing that on purpose.
Well, he probably didn't want to kick it to Corey Sadler. Number 1 was deep, and he's got Hodges as well. Those are 2 of their best players in space. If you can make him re-kick, I'd make him re-kick. I'd back him up 5. I think you have a better chance. You have to,
5-yard penalty, first down, Cass Tech.
You have to remember, in space is when the athletes and the speed shines. When you can get your athletes the ball in space, and there's no more space than there is on a kickoff, because you're getting the ball when people are so 20 yards away. But they're going to take the 5-yard penalty from where it went out of bounds.
So you started at the 43, 22 seconds just about, and 1 timeout. If you're Cass Tech, you
throw it up. I freaking heave it. Give him a shot. Give maybe to Sadler or to Graham. We saw Graham can really go number 11. And if you're West Bloomfield, you tell your secondary, they can double move you all day. You don't bite on that first move. No one gets behind you. Deep is the deepest.
Draw play, Hodges. A lot of room. Sean Hodges. He's still running into the secondary. He lost the football. He falls back on the football. And now we really will see how Cass Tech elects to attack this here.
What a great call. I'm calling for the Hail Mary, but we're not going to have it. We'll come back to it later. Right now, they're in a hurry up.
Right to the line of scrimmage, and Bloomfield with one of the more curious spikes I've ever seen.
Yeah,
let's go back to this draw
grounding.
play, and a great call for Cass Tech.
I thought you had to be under center in high school to spike the ball.
First, Rob, let's look at this really great replay. Yeah.
And it's just nice. Gets a great block inside, and Hodges showing some cutting against the flow of the defense. Ball comes out late. Luckily, he's able to reach back and get it. But get back to that last play. I thought you had to be under center in order to spike it, no?
Apparently not. So they got Hodges off the field after that long run. Just under 10 seconds on the clock, the 1 timeout left. They're not quite in field goal range yet.
So West Bloom's going to make sure they get all their ducks in a row here defensively.
So keep in mind as well, Rob, before the next snap. So you're at the 25 right now if you're Cass Tech. That's a 42-yard field goal. Their kicker, number 80 in white, George Sanchez, his longest kick of the year is 35 yards, and he's only tried 3. So if you're Cass Tech, playbook's open because of the 1 timeout, but you probably got to get 7 or 8 yards to really conceivably think about field goal.
Yeah, you really want to get, like you said, get it closer, give a legitimate opportunity. But I think when you're on the 25-yard line, you don't have to throw the end zone because you have that 1 timeout. You can throw it to the 10 or the 5, a crossing route, and maybe they can make someone miss and get in the end zone. And if they get tackled, use your last timeout, and then you can decide, do we try to kick it for 3 here, or do we take 1 shot into the end zone?
Well, it took a little bit for the offensive fireworks to come. Now Tyrese Grice is hoping that Cass Tech doesn't have late magic at the end of a first half that is as airtight as expected. Bloomfield, the deep drop, stepping up, throwing to the end zone, incomplete. Graham, the intended target. That is Bryce Rowe on the coverage.
Well, you're going to see here as Bloomfield goes back, he's looking right. He tries to come back to the right, but Sadler's covered pretty well, so he goes back to the left, and Graham makes a nice play on it and good coverage, and you can see why. This is Williams. They're heading to Western Michigan. He wins. Sadler does not win that battle, and number 5 in black, Lorenzo Williams, does a great job. There was a penalty on the play, though.
So now after that penalty, there is 3 seconds on the clock. This isn't Cass Tech field goal range, and Sanchez will try it. George Sanchez 2 for 3 on field goals this season. And West Bloomfield will make them think about it a little more. Coming up at the half, John Keating and Lauren Plano will have highlights from around the state in round 1 of the MHSAA playoffs tonight. Going to preview tonight's OT show as well, powered by State Champs. and we'll take you to the magic capital of the world. That's Cole in Michigan. But there's nothing manufactured about the magic on the football field there. We'll tell you about the hopeful 8-man state champs. I mean, we have to do a magic story on Halloween weekend.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Are you a big Halloween fan?
You know, my mom is. I'm not a big Halloween guy.
My kids are out of control. They're having, my daughter who lives kind of over by towards Saline. They're having a Halloween party tomorrow night with her and her husband, and my other 3 children will be there as well.
Will you be there?
We were not invited.
Wow.
It's just
way to call them out on live television.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I think they might have secretly invited my wife,
wow,
but not me. It happens.
You know, you could crash the party and be that guy.
I don't have to wear a mask. Kind of creepy.
You need to stop making these jokes. They're not true. All right, here we go. Sanchez is going to try to give Cass Tech the lead at the half.
Timeout.
Just kidding. Another timeout. I mean, look, as a certain person once said on local radio, timeouts are not like cell phone minutes. They don't roll over, so you may as well, you know, burn them while you've got them. You know what I mean?
There's no points allotted at halftime for the timeouts that you have. I just, I don't know. Here, what are you thinking? Make or not? Make your call here.
That's not my job. I don't predict. I just call.
Oh, I know.
Happens.
Okay, but I'm the predictor. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a block.
Okay.
I'm going on a limb and calling a block.
Why do you think there's a potential for a block here?
Because Cass does not kick a lot of field goals. And in this situation, you got some athletes. Look for Davis Swain. They got Montel Johnson, 16. I'm calling for a block. It's tough. If you don't kick a lot of field goals and extra point, well, you do a lot of extra points, but field goals are a little bit different.
And, oh, by the way, George Sanchez has been waiting about 5 minutes now to try this field goal. He's 2 for 3 on field goals this year. Mumfield puts down the snap, and Sanchez curls it back through.
Wow, a lot to spare.
George Sanchez, 3 for 4 on field goals this year. A good-looking kick to give Cass Tech the lead of the half.
Yeah, and he really got all of this. And the way you can tell with kickers, if the ball spins really fast, that means they cut it too low. And when it does a slower end-over-end spin, that means they hit it flush, nice and fat, and that's how he hit it that time, right in the middle. We'll get another look at it here. As you're going to see, when Sanchez hits this, it just goes, snap a little low, nice spinner, and way, way back.
I think these boys are fired up to be up the half or what?
And I'm Sanchez. I'm saying, hey, fellas, what? You seem too excited. You knew I was going to make that, right? Well, you know, easy. You acted like I wasn't going to make that.
Have a little faith in me, eh?
Yep.
George is the returning kicker for Cass Tech. He was the kicker on the team last year. He's got a 3.5 GPA. And Cass Tech's pretty darn happy to have him as their kicker.
Yeah, and what a fine half. 10-7. The penalties were very minimal. It wasn't chippy. It was physical. The defense won over the offense in that first half, and we'll see some adjustments made at halftime, see if the points kind of tally up a little bit more in the second half. But overall, a very well-played half by both teams, Evan.
Well, remember as well, when these two teams played in the playoffs 5 years ago, Cass Tech and West Bloomfield, by the end of it, it was a 9-7 game. At halftime in 2022, it is a 10-7 game. A couple of teams that are hoping to be at Ford Field Thanksgiving weekend. Lock and Witch just before Halloween. Week 1 of the playoffs off to a great start. Halftime coming up on Bally Sports Detroit.
It's halftime in West Bloomfield, the big Division I first-round playoff matchup between the Technicians and the Lakers, with Cass Tech getting a last-second field goal in the first half to take a 10-7 lead over West Bloomfield. And that game at West Bloomfield is a sellout. Every ticket available has been sold. Welcome inside our Football Fridays OT studio. I'm John Keating, alongside Lauren Plant from State Champs. We expected this one to be one of the better first-round matchups around the state, and it has certainly lived up to advanced billing.
No doubt about it. A lot of people always argue these two teams getting together so early in the playoffs, but you're going to have to play each other sometime. Why not tonight? We've got a doozy. And we're going to have plenty of post-game reaction to the Cass Tech West Bloomfield game coming up later tonight on Football Fridays OT, powered by State Champs. Plenty of highlights from all of the first-round action, John, in the different divisions around the state. Let's take a quick look at a couple of the night's massive matchups right now. Let's head to the biggest game in Division III this week. 3 of the last 5 D3 state champs were either River Rouge or Detroit Martin Luther King. 6 p.m. kickoff for this one. Gone as advertised. Dante Moore connected with Damon Stennis. Look at that. Hangs on to this one under duress. Did he cross the goal line? He did. Now, Rouge gave them all they could handle in this one, but we just got a final. King prevails. The defending champs win 41-28.
A big matchup in Division I between two MAC Red rivals, Chippewa Valley and Romeo. This will probably be the highlight of the weekend. A big hit by Tyler Murray right there. The ball pops up. It's caught by Romeo's Victor Earl, and he's gone. Elbows and shoulder blades the other way. A length of the field return for a score. They have just cracked the fourth quarter. It is 14-14. The former West Bloomfield head coach, Ron Bellamy, now at Michigan, at the game tonight at West Bloomfield earlier this evening. More on the that game later tonight on the OT show, in addition to a whole bunch more. We'll have highlights from several other matchups, and you can see some of the scores that we're following. Grand Ledge with a lead on Brighton. There's Groves big over Warren Mott. Anderson from Southgate and Trenton tied at 20 as they play in the third quarter. CC by just a couple of points over Dearborn as they play in the third quarter. De La Salle big over Grosse Pointe South. And it is Martin Luther King, as just mentioned by Lauren, 41-28, the final over River Rouge.
Yeah, Dearborn giving CC all they can handle. Some other games around the state. Lanphier in the third, winning big over Marysville, 35-7. Negaunee over Houghton, 28-zip. It's Lance losing to Traverse City St. Francis. That's a final 59-8 there. Country Day over Southeastern, 14-0 at the break. Manistee over Boyne City up north, 28-14. And Montrose over Cass City in the fourth quarter. They lead at 20-7.
The city of Colon, Michigan is known as the magic capital of the world for its affiliation with all things magic, and there's certainly been something magical happening there. We'll have this very impressive story. Why don't we continue in a moment? This special presentation of the MHSAA Football Playoffs on Bally Sports Detroit brought to you by the Lead Prep Academy, a postgraduate high school program for football and basketball student athletes, and by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Think Ford first. Great night, the first night of the football playoffs across the state of Michigan. It may be a small city near the southwestern border of the state, but Colon, Michigan is certainly a big, if not the biggest city when it comes to magic. It is the home of several famous magicians over the years, and it is home to one of the largest manufacturers of magic materials in the world. The deftly named Colon Magi, who are competing in the 8-man playoffs, have been performing their own kind of wizardry on the football field this season. They were 9-0 heading into their first-round matchup with Camden Frontier tonight.
We used to be a triple option school. Nothing but veer, veer, veer. And then Justin and Simon, they kind of forced our hand. And so we changed our offense, geared around those two. And they ran full circle with it, putting the work in the offseason, running routes together, getting the guys up here. You know, Justin Wiki, he can do it all.
Your coach said very confidently about you that you're the best wide receiver in the state of Michigan. What does that mean to you that your coach has that kind of confidence in you?
It feels great to have him have that kind of confidence with me, and he's just going to look at me like when we need something big, and it just feels good.
It's amazing every time, like, even when I throw it out to him, I have a good feeling he's going to come down with it, but even after
sometimes you're testing
it,
like, there's no way he's going to catch this one.
He catches it, and you're just like, man, like, I remember sometimes he does it. I look over at the coaches and everybody, I'm like, man, that kid is good every time.
It's my friend. That's my friend. What do you think he's going to say about you as a quarterback?
He'd say that he'd probably be very thankful, I'd hope.
Yeah. Thankful that you're his quarterback.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because there's no good receiver without a good quarterback, and there's no good quarterback without a good receiver.
You're absolutely right. You got a quarterback who looks for you quite often. Describe his game as a quarterback. Is he Tom Brady, basically, kind of?
Kind of, but way faster.
So describe him his full complement of quarterbacking.
He's fast. He can get around the defense, and he throws the ball great, and he can even run the ball.
What would it mean to you to be the quarterback of a state championship football team?
It'd mean a lot. I mean, that's something that everybody dreams of and like works for really hard. And just to be able to come away and do that, it would be really huge for me and I think everybody on our team.
Freshman year we won, but I want my own ring, and we've been working so hard for it. So we're gonna try and go up there and win.
Is this the year?
It's the year.
It's the year?
Yeah.
The MHSAA Football Playoffs on Valley Sports Detroit, brought to you by Figer Law. Nobody knows the law like we do. Figer Law. And by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers, think Ford first. The second half kickoff between Cass Tech and West Bloomfield is up next when Football Fridays returns on Valley Sports Detroit.
We're back at West Bloomfield, anticipating a heck of a second half. First one lived up to the hype. Cass Tech and West Bloomfield in an airtight ball game. Rob, as we look at the stats from the first half, what stands out to you?
I really think you look at the yardage. I mean, 84 to 108 yards. It's been a defensive battle the entire half. And the penalties as well. West Bloomfield 5 for 45. Cass Tech's been clean. Very impressive.
Down to the field we go. Natalie Kerwin standing by with the head coach of West Bloomfield, Tyrese Grice.
Yeah, here now with Coach. Cass Tech leaves the first half with the momentum. They're starting the ball this second half. What's the defensive game plan?
Well, we just got to make sure they don't make big plays on us. We were able to stop them with some plays, but cut down the penalties. We had a few penalties on offense. But its game plan is basically just try to control the ball and try to move the ball like we did in the first half, but try to make sure we take care, don't give up the big plays. But it's a defensive game today, so it's one of those, we just got to keep working hard, keep doing what we're doing. We're going to continue doing what we're doing, just make plays.
Yeah, everyone thought this game tonight would be a heavyweight bout, really won or lost on the line of scrimmage. Do you feel it's turning out that way?
Yeah, they're a tough matchup. We knew that going in. Our guys just continue to just keep fighting. That's what it's all about. We made some second half adjustments, and we're going to see what we see in the second half.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Guys?
All righty, Natalie, thank you. Let's get a look at what Coach Grice and Natalie were just talking about. First half highlights, Rob, as we go through the big ones from that first half. Again, overall, what theme should we take from that first half?
It's physical, and there's a little room for error. You got to be clean here, as you saw Cass Tech clean with the penalties, clean on the turnovers, and they have the 10-7 lead. So the second half is going to be a game of physicality once again, ball control, don't turn it over, don't get the penalties, and try to put the drives together. And I think both quarterbacks are going to have to be a little bit more proficient in the passing game. You see this here with Kenneth Jones getting the touchdown on the run, but the quarterbacks are going to have to play a bigger role in the second half. We highlighted in the open, and Sanchez with the kick right before the half to get a 10-7 lead. That's a slim difference for Cass Tech. Now, they're going to get the ball here to start the second half. Worst case scenario, if you're coach rushing, you want to at least flip the field. If you don't get points, change the field position.
Rob, that's a really good point you bring up about having to go to the air. Each team only had 15 combined passes in the first half. And they can keep loading the box all they want, but it does feel like at some point someone's got to bust a big one through the air to win a ball game.
And what's amazing is there's so much skill at the receiver's position, but it's even more amazing because there's the equal skill in the defensive secondary. Both teams can really line up and play man press, and when you can do that, it really opens things up for that defensive front seven.
Technicians about to get the ball to start the second half with both their seasons on the line. Crowd hammer the kick. Cass Tech got a chance for a return. It's Sean Hodges. Tripped up by Bryce Rowe and Trent Allison, who were a pair of wideouts making the tackle on special teams.
Yeah, we heard Nat talk to Coach Grace coming out. You know, I had talked to him in the week, and his 3 keys, he's sticking to his guns. His 3 keys to winning were control the clock by running, few position, no big plays. So he just reiterated to Natalie what he told us during the course of the week, Evan, and you had a chance to visit with him as well. That's fine. You have a game plan. Now, if you find yourself trailing and the later the game goes, all of a sudden you start veering out of that and morphing a little bit, but you still like to try to do what you do best, though.
It's about the field position that Cass Tech has been living in all night. Just past West Bloomfield's 20. Run Hodges. Not very much. Tried the right side, and Samaj Morgan made the tackle, stepping up from his secondary spot.
Not that Samaj needs any more love, because we've highlighted him quite a bit, but what has impressed me once again about this young man is his physicality on the defensive side of the ball. He's not a diva. Sometimes those receivers, a little bit divas. Throw me the ball, give me the ball. I don't want to hit anyone. I just want to make people miss. Well, he'll come up from the secondary, from a safety position, and bring the bone a little bit now. He'll knock you out.
What's interesting, too, about Samaj is he's going to Michigan to play wide receiver. This is his first year as a starting defensive back. Sure doesn't look it with the way he plays.
Like he said in the interview that his dad had him play everything. Learn all different positions, makes you valuable.
He's even West Bloomfield's punter. Mumfield with time, deep shot, Sadler's open. Corey Sadler, you're never going to catch him. Touchdown, Technicians. That is a 78-yard touchdown for maybe the finest freshman in America, Corey Sadler.
Yeah, and Corey Sadler just does a great job, as well as his quarterback and LaShawn Mumfield. When we get a look at the replay after this conversion, hopefully conversion by Cass Tech, is you're going to see what Mumfield does, and it just shows he's a senior. He's going to look left. He's going to move that safety, Evan, and after this kick, we got a great view of it.
George Sanchez on for the extra point. This is a heavyweight bout in round 1 of the playoffs. LaShawn Mumfield, Corey Sadler, the Cass Tech offense just landed a monster
And let's
blow.
watch the quarterback, 16 in white. Look at him. He'll look left, 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 moves to safety, and then comes back to the right. And that's just beautiful work. And what you can't see off the screen is the move that Corey Sadler put on Williams. Williams has been having his way with him tonight. Sadler won that one-on-one battle. We talk about matchups, and just a great job getting inside.
Corey Sadler, the freshman, who plays like a senior, had 1 catch for 6 yards in the first half. Catch number 1 in the second half, how about 78 yards to the barn?
Now, that's a freshman, remember. And I told you, that's a freshman. What is he going to be like in 3 years?
I think the state of Michigan is very scared to
out.
find out.
Oh, my Lord, I just hope he stays.
Corey has now accounted for 19 touchdowns this year. This is the kicker about this freshman. He's not a wide receiver. He's going to be the quarterback starting next year.
We had talked about this, and the reason it's so important that you put him at quarterback is with his type of dynamic skill set, he gets to touch the ball every single play. He can throw. We saw him against King. They put him at quarterback. He threw a few passes. He can spin the ball as well. But can you imagine him in the pocket? I mean, Mumfield's an excellent quarterback that can run, but not like that one. Number 1 is he's something special. But how about in Mumfield, how about the ball? He laid it right in there. Beautiful throw by LaShawn on that. I don't want to give all the love to one guy because that offensive line, too.
It is a pooch kick for Cass Tech. You talk about pushing your chips to the table. It is a recovery for Cass Tech. All Technicians. That is Derek Jackson III, number 21, falling on the football.
This is just going to be a little bit of a squib kick, onside kick we're going to see here. All right, right here is a little squib kick to the right. You got 4 guys going. It goes high off of Allison, and a great job of Cass. You said your chips, that's going all in right there. When you get a 17-7 lead and you go with an onside kick, That's confidence.
Poor Trenton Allison, number 10 for West Bloomfield, saw an oncoming wall of technicians on that onside kick. They just scored a 78-yard touchdown on the right back of the field. Bloomfield taking another shot down the field. Sadler, and this one is nearly intercepted. Adrian Epps falls hard to the turf.
Well, Sadler had about a step on Williams, but Epps does a good job. And I'm not sure if Mumfield does as good a job as looking the safety off. We saw how he took his head last time and looked to the left. He does give a little left early, and he comes back. But that time, Epps, how about Epps? He learned. He's a Raptor. You know, they learn. Epps learned. Last time you could see Epps fly out of the play when Mumfield looked him off the left. That time he didn't bite as hard. When Mumfield came back, he was able to close the distance and make the play. And really, I know he's thinking, I should have had the interception because I got to the ball and had both hands on it.
Lakers happy to have Aiden Black back. Adrian Epps missed last week with injury. On the ground, Hodges. Sean Hodges finding room, hitting the turbo button and gaining a first down. Morgan had to make a touchdown-saving tackle.
This is a little inside zone. Actually, no, it's power. You see him pulling both the guard and tackle, counter heading to the right. And Hodges really does that on his own. He doesn't even follow where the blocking is. He just cuts back on the backside of the center, up the middle, and with his quickness, does a nice job. And another big play in the run game this time.
This was a 10-7 Cass Tech game at half. Same play, Hodges. Room, Sean Hodges. Staying on his feet. He's pushed backward as he approaches the 10. That is Deontay Pippen on the tackle. But right now, Sean Hodges is creating all sorts of problems.
Okay, what they're going to do here is they're going to bring the backside. And they're going to pull two big bodies. They're going to block down, and they're going to kick out here. Let it go. You see 52 coming. That's O'Brien along with Canty 75. And Hodges does a good job. Patient, a little bit of the running we used to see, the Michigan State running back, 26 NFL picks receivers. Okay, yeah, Le'Veon Bell.
Sure.
Yeah, that type of patience where you let your lineman, you don't rush the hole, you let the hole develop. You get the big fellas up in front, you get lost a little bit behind them, and then you make your cut. And that's what Hodges has done well.
Cameron Summerall, the backup running back for Cass Tech, he's now in. They'll give it to the sophomore, who's running right with daylight into the end zone. Touchdown, Cass Tech again. Sean Hodges got him there, and Cameron Summerall, on his first run of the night, finished it off for 6.
Breaking tendencies, you bring in a running back who hasn't been in the game, and you got all your good wide receivers. You think, oh, they're going to throw it to one of the guys, and they just give it to number 25, Summerall. And he just basically waltzed into the end zone, and now what was a 10-7 game in a matter of 3 minutes becomes a 24-7 game following this conversion.
George Sanchez on to knock through the extra point. Cass Tech is the hottest team in the state of Michigan. They had to win 5 games in a row to make the playoffs. They did it. This is a team no one in the mitten wants to face. That scoreline is the proof of the pudding. This was a 10-7 Cass Tech game at halftime, but the technician tidal wave is starting to come, and it has been a rising tide for the technicians, Rob Rubick, over the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, look at this, 0-6, 0 and a couple 14s. That's defense winning games for you right there, setting a tone. And then 69, 56, 35. And some of these, Mumford Western, not really solid programs this year, but these 2 wins down here, King beat them early in the year down at Cass. And then Brother Rice, who is no slouch, they took care of them as well. But it starts here with a big play to Sadler, and once one gets it in space, it's over. You're not going to get that young man. And then they come back with a great call. How about Marvin Rushing? Rolling the dice, as you said, putting the chips on the table and going all in that situation, Evan. That's a great call by you, and they do that situation. And that's a lot of confidence in your team. that you're going to get it. You practice that, and it comes to fruition, and then you kind of change your tendencies a little bit. You bring in a sophomore running back, a young fella in Cameron Sumero, and he's able to run into the end zone for an easy touchdown. And before you know it, it's 24-7. And now that game plan that we talked about that you have to morph, you might have to change if you're West Bloom. Now, Coach Grace has got to be saying, okay, we can still run some, but we got to try to open it up because we had a lot of ground to make up here.
There's a bunch of Menard's big money moments for Rushing's club. And now, frankly, Rob, we're about to find out a lot about West Bloomfield. Their season is hanging in the balance now. It's a short kick, and West Bloomfield falls on the football to the 35. So now I'm curious, right? West Bloomfield is a team with the offense they want to run, a lot of power run. Quite frankly, with the way they've played the last month or so, this is not a team that is equipped to come back from 17 down. You do have your starting quarterback back. You got to turn the wheels loose now and figure out something because, yeah, there's 9 minutes to go in the third quarter, but you are running out of time now with the scoreline.
That's a great point. But you're going to remember now, you got to remember that Nance is your quarterback. He can throw the ball. We saw that last year against Adams. They just have done such a good job covering Morgan, they being Cass Tech, that they haven't been able to spring him free. But you gotta give him some opportunities here. They're going to a stack set up here, so up on the top. So look for something, maybe try to get something free to Morgan.
There you go. There is Morgan hoping for blocks, but there was nothing coming on that play. It is a loss. A bunch of guys swarmed to the football. Number 9, Richmond in there, and even number 55, the defensive end, Jalen Thompson, was in there too.
When you're going to run these little one-man screens like this out of a stack look with 3 receivers, we're going to pause right in the beginning. You let it go, run it out to see the screen. Now when you get it, now stop it. See, you're getting beat here. Allison's getting beat inside. You got to do a better job blocking. If you don't do that, there's nothing there for Morgan. What you're hoping to get is your 2 receivers against the 2 defensive backs, create a seam, and then let Morgan take advantage of it. But there was nothing there as they got beat at the point of attack.
West Bloomfield is hoping to find an answer. Any way, anyhow. Nance rolling right. He'll tuck. He'll run. He'll get a block on the outside, deliver a blow in midfield that leads to a flag. The collision was Nance and Graham on that sideline.
I think that was consensual now. Both those guys, I'm coming at you, you're coming at me. Let's go. And they're going to come. Maybe we get another look here. I'm not sure we have. If we're going to look at what happened, because that young man right there, I told you, he does not shy away from physicality. That'd be Rick Nance. He's going to scramble, get forced out of pocket. Jalen Thompson, 55, once again. And you're going to see, he turns this up. Now, he's going to flatten back out, and he delivers the blow. Man, did they call that on?
They did call it on Alex Graham, Cass Tech's cornerback.
That's not a good call.
Why?
Well, because Nance initiated as much as Graham, and Graham was getting blocked by another member of the West Bloomfield offense. But like I always say, officials, they're going to miss calls. It doesn't mean they're not good officials. It's like a player. Oh, I dropped passes. You're going to do that. You're going to make mistakes. And I think the emotion, maybe the sidelines of the West Bloomfield side, because it was a very hard hit. But maybe we can take another look at that. Maybe I missed something, but it truly looked like number 11 there, Graham, just was coming in, and I don't think he did anything. It wasn't helmet to helmet. Did you see that, Evan, or not?
No, I did it on the first look, Rob, but to stick up for the officials here, when it's the heat of the moment, sometimes you think it's helmet to helmet when it's a shoulder, you know what I mean?
And it's so physical, and it's loud down there, and it's right in front of you, and you're right in front of the bench of the quarterback's team. I want you to keep an eye on number 11, Graham. They're still in bounds, Oh, yeah, that's it. That's what they call. That's a good call. I stand corrected. That's helmet to helmet all the way. He came in, he lowered his helmet, and the top of it hit, so that's a good call by the officials.
Up the middle this time with Jones. Good chunk on first. Chase Parker, the tackle. Number 10 in white, Chase Parker, just made another tackle, entered today. One of the leading tacklers on the year for Cass Tech with 33. Chase wants to be an engineering major when he gets to college.
Remember in the first half, you said, was this a must drive early on? Right before that last drive before the half? Yeah. I really believe now this is a must drive. They need to get points, even if field goal is okay, because that makes it a 2-possession game.
Nance the deep drop. The long throw toward the end zone. Jump ball picked. Alex Graham bringing it down along the near sideline. It is an interception. His second of the night and his third in the last 2 weeks.
You want to redeem a 15-yard helmet-to-helmet hit? This is what you do. You make an unbelievable interception, and Alex Graham does that here. I tell you, I'm going to throw at someone else because Graham's having himself a night here. And we're going to get a look once again. Rick Nance gets a little bit happy with the ball, a little bit careless as he just kind of heaves it up. And you see Graham come over. Oh, he definitely, I think he gets both feet in. He only needs one. We're going to look here. There's 1 and 2.
That's good.
That's good in the NFL. Yeah. That's a great job by the official. But Graham had redeemed himself and then some. And Rick Nance is going to look back at this game, and he's thrown 2 ill-advised passes. If you have a 6'3" receiver, you might do that. Say, okay, I'm going to throw it. Brett Favre used to do it all the time. I'll throw it up, but you got to compete for the ball. But Graham, the bigger defensive back than the receiver he's covering, I mean, the receiver's at a disadvantage. Graham uses his size to make the great interception.
I suppose the silver lining for West Bloomfield is it's backed up inside the 5. They'll try Hodges on the right side, and he didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. This ball goes from the 3 to the 1.
But it is imperative, if you're the West Bloom defense here, that you force a 3 and out. Because if you do that, you're going to get the ball on the plus side of the 50. You've lost a minute or so off the clock, but you're kind of picking up right where you left off on the last drive. So that's great. But you cannot let them get out of here. And this is also a situation where you tell your defensive back, say, listen, they're throwing the ball. They're throwing the ball. They're throwing the ball. You got to tell your defensive backs, I don't care if they run it. You got to pound into their heads that you have to play pass first. Because if you come up on some type of play action, they get behind you, then this game will be over.
They'll throw from the end zone, and it's caught. LaShawn Mumfield finds Jordan over the middle. Adrian Epps makes the tackle. You got to have a lot of guts to call this play call in the end zone.
You got to have guts, and you got to be disciplined on the defensive side of the ball, as we were just talking about before that play. They were ready for that pass. You know, they weren't all just flying inside to stop the run. They're doing a good job playing coverage first. A little RPO, fakes the run to Hodges, comes behind the linebacker, steps up, Johnson, and just throws it in the slot. Well-thrown ball, nice catch, but also very well defended. Puts him in a 3rd down and more manageable long 4 here.
5.5 to go in a 3rd quarter that's been dominated by Cass Tech. Back to the ground and Hodges. Sean Hodges hitting the turbo. You can kiss him goodbye. Touchdown number 10 in the air for Sean Hodges. That is a lightning bolt from the technicians. Backed up in the shadow of their end zone, and now they're in the other end zone.
And we talked about playing the pass, keep them in front of you. Well, the same thing can go for the run. You have to be gap sound. You just can't bring blitzers, bring linebackers, bring everyone and leave unprotected gaps, because if that play is called for that gap or that back sees that gap, and we're going to look on the replay here in a minute, that's what happens. You're looking at a guy go the other way, and you're not going to catch Sean Hodges.
The numbers for Sean Hodges tonight are eye-popping. How about a 91-yard touchdown and darn near 200 yards on 12 carries? My word.
And it's going to start right here. Just a great job. Let it go. Pull, a nice trap, gets the block, and that's just beautiful. Guess who that is? Amir Herring, number 56. What an unbelievable. Or, no, my bad, wrong team. That's Jalen Washington, 56. Went with the wrong. But how about speed by Hodges? Unbelievable. Yeah, Jalen Washington, that's a great trap block. Just buries the defender. And then Hodges is the beneficiary of just an open seam and then just speed. That's what you can't coach.
Rob, would you like to remind the viewing audience one more time where Sean Hodges is going to go play college football?
He's a Laker?
He is.
He is too?
Yeah.
And Jones is too, Kenneth Jones?
Yeah.
Wow.
You have a decent little backfield coming up in Allendale.
Ooh, they're already pretty good there. Rich get richer. That's fine. I'm all about that.
I'm just setting you up to say nice things about the alma mater. You know what I mean?
One of them will probably eventually be moved to either a slot receiver. They'll probably, because you can't. You can never have too many good backs, but sometimes you can. As you know, you want a couple, 3, but you don't want necessarily 5. If they're talented, you need to get them on the field. But Hodges has shown some really good breakaway top end speed.
Again, this was a 10-7 game at halftime. Cass Tech has scored 3 touchdowns in the first 7 minutes of the second half. Ralph Rogers on the return. That's a free football, but he's down. The Cass Tech sideline is going nuts, but it's not their football. Poor George Sanchez. The kicker just thinks he recovered the kick, and now they got to break the news to him that, no, it's not their ball. Poor guy.
And Rogers gets this squib kick, and he kind of stands. It almost looks like he's tapping out. He just kind of stands there and kind of, you see him right there. And now he says, I'm going to go. And there's no replay. And that, at Ford Field in the finals, officials will have the ability to go to instant replay. And I think they might have overruled that because it looks like that probably got punched out before his knee hit the ground.
Well, it's a break for West Bloomfield. And a ball club that, let's be honest with ourselves, how could you not be shell-shocked on that sideline right
Well, Evan, you follow high school football. You call it, and you also follow, I know you watch a lot when you're not actually calling the game. This is going to turn heads, this score. When people see this.
This is Raquez Nance, wrangled down by that guy again, Chase Parker.
Yeah, they threw a flag.
Grasping the face mask. Defense. 15-yard penalty. The result is a first down.
I think that's the only thing that's going on in the second half.
A couple penalties. They played the first half clean with no penalty-free, and this time they got a couple here. And that was a pretty obvious one because that flag came out quickly, and the white hat didn't even have to confer with the official that threw it because he saw it as well. Let's look at Marvin Rushing. Got to be pretty pleased right now. This team has really responded in the second half and shown why they're going to be very dangerous, as you said.
Time for Nance. Dancing in that pocket. Throwing down the middle. Incomplete. Wanted Pippin. Nickens
and he
on the
had
coverage.
Samaj Morgan standing on the 40-yard line in front of his bench, waving his hand, and Nance did not see him. Rick's got to be shaking his head. I guarantee, I know, I've been with the receivers. He's going to come back to the huddle. Let him go right here. He's going to come down. He disappears a little bit. But now he's standing right off the screen. There's no white shirts around him. But Nance never saw him.
Nance throws this time, and it's caught by Pippin.
Just a hair short. About a yard short, but nice job by Nance. You can tell Nance not very tall. Rick stands, 5'9", and short quarterbacks, they have something in common. They leave the pocket quickly because it's hard with those big offensive linemen to get a vision down the field. Even if the pressure doesn't get him out, he wants to leave the pocket. That's something, if he wants to play at the next level, at the collegiate level, you can't do.
4 minutes, 23 seconds. 4, 2, 3.
Pause before this play. They got to add some time back. There should be 4:23 on the clock. There we go. Look, there's a lot of time to go in this ball game. It's not over, but remember how we were talking earlier, must-score drives?
Yeah,
it's a must-score drive.
It's score or go home right now.
This will help. Raquez Nance running up the middle. The Red Sea parts, and he's got a touchdown.
There's a couple things that are very impressive. Number one, let it go. You're going to just see a nice lane open up right up the middle of the field, and Nance hits it. When you come from the side of your screen, you're right. Watch number one comes in like a missile. That's the freshman, Sadler, who really closed on him and delivered a blow one-on-one there, literally. but Nance showing some quickness. Been their best offensive running play. That's the second time they've had explosive plays with the quarterback draw. And that was necessary. Now they're going to go for 2.
Trying to make it a 2-score game. And before we get there, time out of the field. That's a 38-yard touchdown run for Raquez Nance. Guy back in the lineup. And running for a touchdown that keeps the pulse pumping for West Bloomfield.
And this is just so quick. It's really not even a draw. It's just like a quarterback inside zone. It's just right up the middle of the field. And that's good. That's what the doctor ordered. If they get this 2-point conversion, it makes it a 2-possession game. And I call it 4 scores because you're going to need a touchdown, 2-point conversion, touchdown, 2-point conversion. Oh, you'd be down, what, 16? Yeah, you'd be down 16. So it would make it a 2-possession game, but you still have to score 4 times within that because 2-point plays aren't given. As you can see, especially in the NFL, if you watch on Sunday, they struggle. But they're going to go for it here. That timeout, I think I'd get Nance back in the game, give him that basic look, because if you out of this shotgun, this Wildcat so-be, all they've done is run Kenneth Jones. So if I'm Cass, I'm thinking they're going to run Kenneth Jones somewhere before the tackles. Just bring your linebackers, blitz all the gaps.
When they get down close to the goal line, this is standard operating procedure for West Bloomfield.
Maybe they'll try something wide. They haven't gone wide. They've really gone between the tackles.
They will try wide. Morgan wants to throw back across the field, and it's knocked away.
Well, it's not the Philly special, but they hand it underneath to Morgan, and he's going to try to get Jones, who handed him the ball, who's going to leak in the opposite flat, but it doesn't work. Well, what did work, Evan, was number 1, Rick Nance, looking like Rick James dancing into the end zone.
Busy night across the state of Michigan. First round of the playoffs. Got to make sure we're on top of everything. Here's a few scores to let you know about. Northville beats Novi in a rivalry game, 26-14. And Catholic Central survives a scare. They beat Dearborn on the road. It'll be the Shamrocks beating the Pioneers tonight, which means that next week when Northville plays Detroit Catholic Central, that will be our Football Fridays game of the week. We're off to Northville High. Remember, that is a cross-town, next-door rivalry game. Detroit Catholic Central based in Novi for the last couple of decades. They're going about 15 minutes down the road to take on Northville. Back to this game. It's a pop-up kick that Cass Tech will field. They'll get it in the hands of Sewell, who's looking for real estate, and he's just not going to get any. He's stopped across the 25-yard line. So here we go, Rob, like we were just talking about. West Bloomfield had to score, frankly, to stay in the game. They just did. 4 minutes to go. Ball just shy of the 30. Yep. Right, it's a 31-13 game. How do both teams attack this spot?
Well, and you're fighting the clock right now. If you're Cass, you can't come out and just say we're going to run it 3 plays, because if you have to punt, that does you nothing. It eats a little bit of the clock. I like in this situation, offense, stay what you've been doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Mix the pass in as they have. Keep pressing them with Sadler outside, trying to get behind them. Also with Graham, you got the skill outside, and continue to also mix Hodges in the run game. So be balanced. Don't get one-handed here.
We'll try the right side with Jordan. Elijah Jordan with a little room, and then it evaporates quickly as Jameer Benjamin makes the tackle. Good gain on first down for Cass Tech, but frankly, Rob, this could have been worse if not for a strong defensive
Watch this right here at the top. 2 big fellas grinding. Look at Anderson get the better. Pushes Swain so wide it creates a seam. There's nothing wrong with getting strung out a little bit for a defensive end. You want to eventually turn in, but you can't get pushed that far out where it leaves a big hole for the back to cut up. And we saw what happens. That's a 7-yard gain.
Mumfield keeps, and he spins. LaShawn Mumfield still going. Morgan made the tackle, but not before Mumfield hit the circle button to get the first down.
And they're mixing it up nice. You saw outside zone play, and then you saw them come back, and that time they run counter tray. They're going to pull both right or left and guard and tackle, and it's going to be a read. It's counter read where Mumfield reads the defensive end. So where the guard and tackle leave, at that defensive end follows them, comes down, Mumfield's going to pull it, hit the open area.
Did you get my reference, by the way? Hit the circle button.
I'm too old.
When
I don't play Madden.
Yeah, when you play Madden, that's the spin.
The only football game I had, it was like on an electric board. They all kind of hummed.
Oh, yeah.
These little guys, that was it.
I got that for Christmas once.
Okay, good, yeah. Salvation Army?
No, for my parents.
Oh.
Maybe they got it at the Salvation Army. I don't know. I never asked them. Sean Hodges approaching 200 yards for the football game. He just had a 91-yard touchdown on the last drive.
Yeah, and you have a good stop on first down. Now you got to back it up, put a couple good plays together, and you can see almost half the yardage that he had for the whole season he's had tonight. I'm not sure if it's cumulative or he had 380 coming into the game, I'm going to guess. But he has half of that tonight.
Here's Summerall again. Not very much for Cass Tech. And yes, it's an 18-point lead, but it's third down and long, Rob. This is a really big play for West Bloomfield.
Yeah, it is.
Defense.
You got to get a stop. You get a stop, you force a punt, and you can maybe put another drive together, some big plays, and get another score and put a little bit more pressure on this Cass Tech offense. The closer you can come back, the closer, and you can make it a little bit tighter. It makes every throw a little bit harder, every block a little bit more difficult. There's a good look at Coach Grice. Enjoyable to talk to Coach. Very forthcoming, very available.
On the ground, and Cass Tech will not get the first down. It's Sean Hodges again. Samaj Morgan once again stepping up from his defensive back spot to bring down a runner in the open field.
Right, and it's tempting here in this situation. You're 4th and 5. You know we've had some success offensively. Put your ego aside, punt the ball, play field position, make them go the long field in order to try to get some more points.
So the technician's forced to punt. They'll punt it to Samaj Morgan. But you bleed some time off the clock, not the end of the world.
Looks like West Bloomfield just set up a return.
Mumfield, the kick. And the Lakers will call the fair catch, and they'll make it. At the 25, that's Adrian Epps making the fair catch. And now a message from the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
Returning AZ Plan lessees can order an F-150 today and lease it for $299 a month for 24 months. Only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Think Ford first.
11 seconds to go in the third quarter, Rob.
This is a man, getting back to that little commercial there, big fan of Ford. I drive a 2003 F-150. Freaking purrs, baby, purrs.
You were just an outstanding company man.
Yeah, well, my son has a 21 Ford Explorer, and my wife has a 21 Ford Escape. I drive a 03 F-150, so it shows where I rank in the hierarchy of the Rubik family.
Well, the Fords are built to last.
They are, and mine is living proof.
Go get one at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
You got it.
Proud presenting sponsors of our Football Fridays coverage all fall. That'll take us right through Thanksgiving weekend of the state championships in just over a month. Could be the final play of the third quarter. This is Rick Nance given time. Deep shot. Man open, but it's intercepted. Corey Sadler is an absolute joy to watch play football.
Well, you're going to see unbelievable play, and then we're going to talk about there's a 15-yard penalty that's going to be added on here. But right here, this is Sadler. He gets turned around. You can't. How do you coach that? You can't coach that.
No.
No, I'm serious. You can't coach that. First of all, the way he opens and spins when he's beat doesn't faze him. And the way to locate the ball, close on it, The only thing that happens wrong in this, I don't know if we ever look how long we stayed on the sideline, but one of the coaches goes running on the field to hug Sadler and just trucks the official. So he's got a 15-yard penalty, so they'll be backed up 15, but they're going to retain the football. But officials probably think, I haven't been hit like that since my junior year in high school because he got trucked.
See if we can get a look at what ended up being the flag.
It happened back up towards midfield a little bit, but how about that young man? You know, sometimes in our opens we miss. We highlight certain people and they're okay. I think we hit him pretty good.
Yeah, Rob Rubik, you don't miss.
Oh, humble and lovable. Look at you. Now, 3 seconds to go in the half, or in the third quarter rather. Now you ground and pound a little bit.
You know I'm like Flava Flav, right? I'm just your hype man. That's literally why I'm here.
I get a little bit chippy. We haven't seen any of this. They gave some love early on to the big man.
Well, it's still spooky season for a couple of more days, and that third quarter was a house of horrors for West Bloomfield. Cass Tech big plays all over the place, and they're 12 minutes away from moving on.
Welcome back into West Bloomfield, where Cass Tech leads this one right now 31-13. And a big reason for that is Corey Sadler Jr., who's made a ton of big plays tonight, as you just saw to close out that third quarter with that interception. Well, if you notice, he wears the number 1. And in Cass Tech's program, that's a pretty special thing. Not just anyone gets to wear that number. Well, according to his coach, his teammates voted for him to get it. CJ's competitiveness is off the charts. And if you look at him, gosh, I mean, for the first time in the history of Cass's program, a freshman gets to don that number, which is Corey Sadler. So again, yes, his teammates voted for him to get it. He shows plays on offense, defense, special teams. I mean, this guy is special, and you've been seeing it all over the field. Really just an impactful guy.
I mean, look at that.
Unbelievable.
He's accounted for 20 touchdowns this year.
There's something I missed on that last play. I was telling you how impressive that he got beat. He was turned the wrong way, how fluidly he opened back to the ball, and then he was able to locate the ball, and then he gets both feet in. I mean, that's a 25-year-old type of mentality. Like, he's been playing football that long. For that type of mental football IQ and ability, I hope we can keep him in this state someday, because he'll be a joy to watch.
He's already a joy to watch, and he's 14. This is Hodges with real estate again. Sean Hodges up over 200 yards in the game. Rob was making this point to you earlier. Sean Hodges, 388 yards on the season entering tonight. How about 200 in game number 1 of the playoffs?
Not bad. Cass is throwing up a number here that's, as I said earlier, is going to turn a lot of heads in Division I, because people know what West Bloomfield is, and they've been undermanned, but they got some of those people back here tonight, and to hang 31 points on them, and how they've done it has been pretty impressive.
Third down short for Cass Tech. This is Sean Hodges. Middle, still going into West Bloomfield territory. First down for the Technicians. If this holds, Cass Tech obviously would win the football game. We'll get a look at the bracket in just a second. Now, their opponent for next week, Rob, they won't know until this time tomorrow, because the winner of Southfield A&T Troy, which is taking place tomorrow, would get Cass Tech if this scoreline holds. And keep in the back of your mind as well, that would be a revenge game for Cass Tech. They lost to Southfield A&T in the first game of the year, 56-54.
I hope you bet the over.
I don't think there's such a thing as high school football betting. Nearly disaster. There is senior experience for LaShawn Mumfield. Trouble on the snap, trouble on the handoff. Mumfield Johnny on the spot as Jeremiah Smith makes the tackle.
Yeah, if you're going to lose this game, if you're Cass Tech, the only thing that's going to lose is some turnovers, some quick turnovers and some quick scoring by West Bloomfield. As you saw, Mumfield, there's kind of like, you have it, I have it, no one has it, goes on the ground, but very composed. He picks it up and actually picks up a couple of yards after the ball hits the ground. Mumfield's played well. you know, they don't have to depend on him. It's not like they're a quarterback-driven team where that if he doesn't play well, they don't win. They have enough weapons that they put around him that can make plays. He has to be a game manager, and then when he does more than being a game manager, that's when this team just thrives.
It's been an explosion of offense for Cass Tech in the second half. They scored 21 points in the third quarter. They want more here. Bloomfield, deep shot. It's intercepted. Adrian Epps with the INT. And that is the last thing in the world that Cass Tech wanted.
Well, we talked about one way to get back in the game if you're Cass Tech to allow someone to get back in the game with you is turnovers. And not only turn it over deep in their own end, it's a nice return by Epps, puts them at the 45-yard line. And if you're West Bloom now, you got to come out and start slinging it. Mumfield just trying to throw the corner route. Epps does a great job. He's figured Mumfield out now. That's the second one. He should have had a pick early in the game. You remember where Mumfield moved him the one time and threw back and Epps bought the head fake? He hasn't bought that the last couple of times. We almost had a pick going the other way early on in this half. That time he was able to make the play. And now they come out with trips. Kind of a stacked eye look out here. You can see the three receivers. Last time they tried running the screen to Morgan.
We'll try it again. Allison got a bit of a block on the outside that time, and Samaj Morgan refuses to go down.
And that's impressive because you see that sometimes you have like 4 linemen pushing you. There's no one but Samaj on this. It should be about a 2-yard gain. He ends up picking 11 or 12 because it's just effort and great lower body strength pushing the pile. Here's a good look at Samaj. You can see this once again. It's just a quick screen. Get it out. Get the ball in space. Nice job by Allison. Gets away with a little bit of a hold there.
West Bloomfield moving the football again. A positive gain on first down.
You see a little bit more urgency. Yep. We got caught in the replay a little bit because they're coming out trying to push the tempo a little bit, and they need to because it's 8:45. And this is 8:45 in the NFL. This is 8:45 in high school. It goes quick. That you can't. They're just not the ability with the time and that you have coaching these kids to really go through a hurry up all the time. So they're not that efficient at it, and the clock goes quickly.
Nance, deep shot, down the field, toward the end zone, incomplete. Hoping for Pippin. Sadler the coverage again. There is a flag in the backfield.
Yeah, and this is the phony. Teams have different names, so I call it a phony. They've run 2 screens to Samaj.
There are 2 fouls, both against the defense. Pass interference, defense. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, that penalty will be accepted. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Okay, now we're going to look at this stack, and we've seen them that 2 times prior to this in this same formation, they've run the hitch here. Well, this time they're going to fake it here because they're going to try to get deep behind it, and that's where they're going to go with the ball. Let it go. Because they see that, and they try to get the DBs to bite, and then they go up over the top. And you can see Sadler's beat a little bit, but he recovers, and then you see the late hit coming in by number 5, Zachary Boston, the linebacker from Cass Tech.
Nance running right, going nowhere. Future Spartan Jalen Thompson all over that.
There's some fellas that can play now. You said in the open, you know, you can be the best coach in the state of Michigan with X's and O's, but if you don't have these Jimmies and Joes, it's tough to win championships. And if you're going to make a run, and I think both of these teams have enough skill players and big offensive line and defensive line players that they could go deep into the playoffs. But West Bloom's got a lot to do here if they want to keep that dream alive.
Nance again, down the middle, it's intercepted. The 4th time tonight that Cass Tech has picked off Rick Nance. This time it's Cassius Shivers.
Well, we thought Rick Nance might be a little bit rusty because he hasn't played in 3 weeks and nearly a month, as you said, Evan. But I don't believe he's reading anything. He just tosses this down the middle of the field, and there's a high safety just waiting. You see Shivers. He's not going to have an easier interception. Let's look at Rick coming off, and not pleased. And a little bit of hope that West Bloom had there, a little glimmer after the interception on the other end by Epps. Really just kind of fade to gray here as they throw the pick. Now they got him on the 1 yard line. Maybe you hope for a turnover, try to get penetration, knock that ball loose, and get an easy, quick touchdown with a defensive score possibly.
Cass Tech did not have a touchback on that interception, by the way. That's why they're starting from the 1. This is Hodges. Keeping the lower leg drive and rolling to get out of the shadow of the end zone. Robert Harris did eventually make the tackle, but positive gain for Hodges here.
Down by Robert Harris.
By the way, the last time that Cass Tech started a drive in a similar position, they started at the 3 earlier in this half. They got a 91-yard touchdown run from Sean Hodges, who is well over 200 rushing yards today.
Well, they're loading up inside now defensively, which means you're putting your guys outside on an island now. If you're Coach Rushing, do you roll the dice and take a shot? Try to get one of those guys deep?
This is another big run. Sean Hodges is having the game of his life. He just ran for another 90-plus yard touchdown. Sean Hodges entered tonight with 388 rushing yards on the season. He has over 300 tonight.
And just a great job at the point of attack. We're going to pause there. You're going to see a nice kick out here. You can get a nice movement here. And then it's just going to be a cut up inside. Let it go. See the double team and too much flow inside. You see number 2, Samaj Morgan, comes running down inside way too quickly. And Hodges, that 2 is a little bit faster than the other 2. Morgan is a great effort chasing, but wow, what a night. And ladies and gentlemen,
you know,
turn out the lights.
You know who we did not talk about in the open? Sean Hodges.
Yeah.
He just wants to make sure the entire state of Michigan knows who the heck he is. That is a 93-yard touchdown and a Cass Tech coming out party. All right, so we're back at West Bloomfield High School after Cass Tech just scored their last touchdown, and we went to commercial break. There was an incident here at the stadium. West Bloomfield ran off the field. Moments ago, West Bloomfield running off the field again as we go to commercial break. After the last touchdown for Cass Tech, West Bloomfield evacuating the field. Student section fans evacuating the stands as well. Now here's the good news. There are multiple police cars. There is a large police presence here. Again, we are not going to report hearsay. We do not know for sure what happened. All we know is, again, immediately after the touchdown last scored by Cass Tech to seemingly put the ball game away. It feels silly to talk about a football game in this instance, but it is 38-13. Cass Tech leading West Bloomfield with about 6.5 minutes to go. West Bloomfield's players returning to the field. Right now, the officials are congregating at midfield with both coaching staffs, as you can see. And this game has been halted. Again, you can see the police presence here at West Bloomfield High School with the Lakers of West Bloomfield trailing Cass Tech 38-13. Cass Tech has played one heck of a second half. It was 10-7 technicians at half, and they have rolled here in the second half. Sean Hodges, the running back for Cass Tech, has run for over 300 yards in this game and 2 touchdowns of over 90 yards. But now, frankly, Rob, everyone in the stands, all of us here in the press box,
people are
a little bit shaken up.
People are coming back into the stands, It looks like. As you said, there's a large police presence. Officials are on the field. Cass is over there throwing and warming up. And you see West Bloomfield's team is also back in the stadium.
So Evan said, as you said, Evan, we have really no idea what's happening, except that the game has been stopped and West Bloomfield's team made a beeline out of the stadium, but they are now returning.
Well, we'll get to see if we get to finish this football game. It's all getting sorted out here. Hope to be back with you soon from West Bloomfield High. We'll be back in a little bit. Cass Tech leading with 6.5 to go in the ball game.